So there's this kid that used to live down the street from me, and I don't think I ever saw him talk to anyone. Not a single time. He'd always be outside, just sitting on his porch, not doing anything, not looking at his phone, but just sitting there. Everyone in the neighborhood thought he was pretty weird, like maybe something was wrong with him, and after watching him for a while, I noticed something. He was always looking at the trees, at the clouds, at the people walking by, like he was actually seeing everything and taking it in instead of just passing through it. And one time I was out there too, and I built up the courage to introduce myself, and he turned to me and he said, "Do you ever notice how the sky looks different when nobody's around?" And that was it. That was the whole conversation. And to be honest, I thought about that for weeks because he was right. The sky does look different when nobody's around. And to be honest, everything does. And I think about that kid a lot because I was that kind of way. Now, I don't mean sitting on porches, but just quiet. I was a kid who would never raise his hand, not because I didn't know the answer, but because speaking felt like this huge thing. Everybody turns and suddenly you're on stage, and I didn't want to be on stage. I just wanted to be there and exist in my own little corner of the world. So I didn't talk much, and I just watched. To be honest, you start noticing stuff when you watch, like how some people laugh really loud, but their eyes look sad, or how a room goes quiet when the person driving the conversation leaves, or how teachers always ask quiet kids if we're okay, like being quiet is a problem that needs to be solved. But it's not. I have plenty to say, I just don't say it to everyone. Talking takes energy, and it takes the risk of someone not getting it, or twisting it, or using it as a chance to talk about themselves. And to be honest, I learned pretty quick that most people aren't actually listening and they're just waiting for their turn to speak. The answer's pretty simple. You wait. You wait for someone who asks because they want to know, not just because they want to respond. And when you find that person, then you talk. Maybe don't talk a lot, but I can promise you it'll feel much more real. I remember this one time in high school, there was a group project and everyone was talking over each other, throwing out ideas and trying to become the one who came up with the best thing. And I just sat there, not because I didn't have ideas, I had a really good one. But because I knew that in that moment, if I said anything, it would get swallowed by noise. So I waited. And after class, this one kid came up to me, someone I barely knew, and he said, "You looked like you had something to say back there." So I told him my idea. And he looked at me like he had actually heard it. And we ended up working together on the whole thing. He did most of the talking to the teacher, and I did most of the thinking. And it worked. We got 100%, but more than that, I realized something. My idea wasn't worse because it wasn't said the loudest. It was still good, it just needed the right moment and the right person to hear it. And I think that's what being quiet gives you. You learn to recognize the right moments, and you learn that not everyone in the room deserves your voice, and that's okay. You learn that silence isn't empty, it's just full of something else, full of observation, full of thought, the space to actually process what's happening instead of just reacting to it. But here's the thing no one tells you about being quiet. It honestly gets lonely sometimes. Not always, but sometimes. You watch everyone else pairing off and laughing, and you wonder if you're doing something wrong. If you should just force yourself to be louder, to be more, to be what everyone seems to want. I tried that. I tried being someone who walks into a room and owns it, who tells big stories with big gestures and makes everyone laugh. And I could do it for like an hour, maybe two, but then I'd feel this exhaustion, this deep tiredness that wasn't physical. It was like my soul was tired from pretending. I'd go home and sit in my room and just feel relief that I didn't have to perform anymore. And to be honest, I did that for a while. I had this group of friends and I thought they were friends, but I was always the one adapting to them. Their music, their jokes, their energy, and I was just the shadow that basically followed them around, nodding and laughing at the right times, and I told myself that was friendship. But one day I got sick, like actually sick. I stayed home for a week, and when I came back, nobody had even noticed I was gone. They were still having the same conversations, the same jokes, and everything was exactly the same. And I realized that I wasn't part of that group, I was just near it. And that was a hard thing to realize because it meant that all that performing, all that exhausting myself to fit in was just for nothing. They didn't want me, they just wanted a body in the room that agreed with them. And to be honest, that could have been anyone. So I stopped. I stopped trying to be in rooms where I had to perform to stay, and at first, that meant I was alone a lot. Like actually alone. Eating lunch by myself, walking home all by myself, spending weekends by myself. And some of that was hard, I'm not gonna lie. But there's a difference between being alone because you chose it and being alone because nobody chose you. And somewhere in that loneliness, I started to figure out who I actually was, what I liked, and what I actually thought about things when nobody was there to influence me. I started playing Minecraft around then, and I know it sounds like a tangent, but it's not. Minecraft was the first thing that I did that was just me. I didn't have to explain it to anyone, I didn't have to be good at it for anyone. I just built stuff. Little houses at first, and then bigger things. I started joining servers and I found something interesting. Online, in text, I could actually talk. I could be funny, I could be clever, because there was no performance, no eye contact, no energy to read. It was just words. And words were something I was good at, I just didn't know it because I never got to use them in the right way. And I think a lot of quiet kids find their place online, not because we're hiding, but because we're finally seen. The internet doesn't really care if you speak softly, it cares if you have something worth saying. And when you do, people find you, they stay, they come back, and that's something that I never really had in life. Not for a long time. But here's what changed everything for me. I got older and I realized the things that were flaws were actually just me. Being quiet wasn't a bug, it was just a feature, and I started to notice that in every group there's always someone who watches. Someone who listens, someone who notices when someone's left out, or when the conversation went too far, or when someone does need help but just refuses to ask. And usually that person is quiet because you can't notice stuff when you're busy talking. Now, I'm not saying that being loud is bad, some of my favorite people are actually loud. The world needs loud people to say things, to energize rooms, and to push ideas forward. But the world also needs quiet people, to finish things, to notice what got missed, and to hold space for the people who aren't being heard. And I don't think we value that enough. We call quiet kids shy, awkward, antisocial, like something needs to be fixed, but maybe we're just different. Maybe we're just built for a different kind of contribution. And that's not less, it's just different. I used to think that I needed to change, be more outgoing, be more talkative, be more like everyone else. I tried and it felt wrong. Like wearing someone else's shoes, like I was pretending to be a version of me that just didn't exist. And the worst part was, I got good at that pretending. So good that people thought it was me, and I started to think that was me too. Now, I am still quiet sometimes. I still like listening more than talking, and I still prefer one real conversation over a room full of small talk. But I also know when something matters enough to say, and when I do, people usually listen, because they know I don't just talk to fill space. They know if I'm saying something, it's because I actually thought about it. It's because I watched, I listened, I processed, and I decided that it was worth the energy. Being the quiet kid changed how I see everything. It changed how I see friendship, how I see conversation, how I see value. I don't think the loudest person in the room is the smartest anymore. I don't think the person who talks the most has the best ideas. I think that the person who pays attention, who actually sees what's happening, who notices things nobody else notices, and that person has something worth saying. And when they finally say it, I think that everyone should listen, because the quiet kid isn't empty. The quiet kid is full of thoughts, full of observations, and full of things they've been waiting to say to the right person at the right time. And if you're that person, and you're lucky enough to earn that trust, you will hear something real. Something that wasn't rehearsed or performed or said for attention, something that was held back until it actually mattered. And I think that's beautiful, and I think it's worth protecting. I think that every quiet kid needs to know that they're not broken, that they're not behind, they're not missing out on some essential human experience just because they don't want to scream into every room they enter. They're just building something, gathering something, and waiting for the moment when what they actually have is 100% needed. And when that moment comes, they'll be ready, because they've been ready their whole life. They just didn't know it yet. So if you're quiet, if you're the kid who watches more than you talk, who listens more than you perform, and who feels like you're always a little outside of everything, you're not alone, and you're also not wrong. You're just seeing the world differently, and the world needs that. It really does. Being the quiet kid changed how I see everything. And to be completely honest, I'm glad it did. Now, if you want to see more videos like this, or more topics, please let me know in the comments, because I read every single one, and it'd be really great to know what to talk about next. I'll see you guys in the next video.